Morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Senator Donna Campbell, President Pro Tem of the Senate, and we do want to talk about a few of the recent bills that we've passed. But first, I want to bring up Senator Charles Perry to talk about an event that's just occurred. Senator Perry.
Thank you, Chairwoman Campbell, and thank you guys again for coming here. And I think it's important that we follow up on things that we try to get done and ultimately don't get done. A lot of times for partisan politics do matter. As of last night in Levelland, Texas, which is in Senate District 28, we had an officer, actually SWAT commander, Josh Bartlett, killed in the line of duty while responding to a domestic violence call. Additionally, 3 other officers were shot or injured in that. Fortunately, I don't believe any of them are critical. Officer Bartlett was responding to a domestic violence call of an individual that had been bonded out 4 days earlier. Had this law been passed back in regular session or sessions prior to, we can only speculate and beg the question of whether Josh Bartlett today would be living and the communities wouldn't be facing the void or the loss that they have. I'm also reminded that a lot of times these initiatives are countered around urban areas. Levelland's about 12,000 people, good hard-working West Texans that do a lot of oil and gas and cattle and farm and agriculture industry. So we make laws because they're the right thing to do. We try to protect every citizen regardless of zip code and area. But today I mourn, and we will mourn and continue to, the loss of those that are called to serve and protect, that put on the badge and swear an oath, that lose their lives in those lines of duty. So just as a reminder, I think, as one of my Senate colleagues always says, put a face on it. I'm going to be looking at a family, a wife and 3 kids that don't have a dad today. And maybe, just maybe, could have been prevented had we had politics set aside and policies would have trumped. So today I ask you to remind yourself as we kind of go home that we are protected by people that do care, and our laws do matter, and we are serious about what we do down here. Thank you, Senator Campbell.
Thank you, Senator Perry. You know, passing that bill, bail reform bill, is just one example of how we are able to get things done in the Senate. While some legislators in the House are away, it does cause delay. It also costs $43,000 per day. We passed the 13th check, which is an extra check for our retired teachers. We've been working to put tax dollars back into Texans' pockets. So with that, I'd like to introduce Senator Nelson, a former teacher, chairman of Finance Committee, who helped champion the bill, providing the 13th check for our retired teachers. She'll be followed by Senator Paxton, who was a teacher herself. And I'd also like to thank Senator Huffman for the legislative work she did to author the bill that actually delivers that 13th check. Then we will hear from Senator Bentoncourt, the author of the property tax relief bills. Then I will close. Senator Nelson.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, and first I need to acknowledge and thank Senator Huffman, not just for Senate Bill 7, but for all the work she's done for our retired teachers over the years. And as chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, I want to address some untrue misinformation that's out there, and I want to set the record straight about the funding for the 13th check for our retired teachers. And I have to show, I don't want to promote any specific newspaper, but I just want to show you this headline. Ex-teachers will have to wait for bonus. How did we get here? And I'm hearing that we should have done this during regular session. We wanted to. I need to back up a little bit and give you some history. The comptroller issues a revenue estimate. We've had an economic downturn due to our pandemic. When we entered into session, the comptroller told us how much funding we had available, and we were very limited as to what we were able to do. We didn't do some things we really wanted to do. This was one thing we discussed, but it cost, for a 13th check for our retired teachers, it cost $701 million. There were other things we needed to do for our retired teachers as well. We needed to make our fund secure, and that cost over $1 billion, Senator Huffman. I mean, it was very expensive. A year, thank you. And property taxes, there were other things that we wanted to do, but we just couldn't do. I will point out to those who are saying, well, we should have done that during session. The budget that we passed allowed us to do the things that we thought were very important, and we ended up with $300 million that we held back. We didn't have enough money. That budget, by the way, passed the Senate unanimously, and when the House passed their version, it passed unanimously, and neither version had in it a 13th check because we all knew we just couldn't afford it. We wanted to. All right, fast forward. The economy is cooking. We have money now because Texans are out and they're spending money. The comptroller, after session, in fact, about a week ago, the comptroller told us that we have available revenue that we didn't have during session. We, in our very first Senate Finance Committee hearing, prioritized our retired teachers, and we passed Senator Huffman's Senate Bill 7. We came to the Senate floor, and we passed Senate Bill 7 for our retired teachers. That was the most important thing we said we were going to do with that new money that the comptroller told us we had. Unfortunately, ex-teachers are going to have to wait for that bonus because there aren't enough people over on the other side of this Capitol to pass that bill out. And I'm sorry. Our retired teachers are saints. I mean, they worked so hard to educate our children. We want to help them. We've got the money now to help them, and it is going to be a darn shame if we end without being able to give our retired teachers this 13th check that we now have the money to do. So we're here. We're ready to pass this and help our retired teachers. There are other things that we have funding available now that we didn't know we had when the session was going on that we need to do. And Senator Betancourt's going to talk about that in a minute because that's something that we also prioritize. But in the meantime, I've got another former teacher. I don't want to say retired. That sounds too old. But I have another teacher that's going to speak to that issue as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Senator Nelson, and thank you all for being here. I am here in front of you right now as Senator Angela Paxton, but for over 2 decades prior to coming to the Senate, I served as an educator. I was a math teacher and a school counselor. And I've appreciated the opportunity on this side of things to be part of passing salary increases that we have secured for our teachers that deserve it so much. And I also would just like to thank Senator Nelson, Chairman Nelson, Chairman Huffman for your great work in making this 13th check a priority in the money. We could spend it a lot of ways, and you've prioritized our retired teachers. You know, my mother was a teacher's aide. My mother-in-law was a teacher. I've got 2 daughters who've chosen education as their field to invest their lives in. And, you know, I don't know any teacher that has gone into the field of education because they thought they were going to get rich. It's a labor of love. Education and teaching is a labor of love. And these teachers showed up for us. These retired teachers that we're talking about, these were our teachers. Some of them have taught our own children. And the teachers today that are in those classrooms are future retired teachers, like my daughters. They're taking care of the future of Texas. They've showed up for us day after day after day, but the House Democrats are today, for them, absent, unexcused. And there really is no excuse for not being here for the people who have so been here for them all of their lives, and for their kids' lives, and for their constituents. They deserve better than to have legislators who are skipping class because they don't like the assignment. None of us would let our kids do that, and the House Democrats shouldn't be doing that either. Our retired teachers deserve this help. The House Democrats have chosen, with the stated purpose of breaking quorum, to keep the business of Texas undone. They're standing with DC politics instead of standing with their constituents and with their retired teachers. And to them I say, come back. Be counted present and vote for this 13th check for the retired teachers of Texas. Thank you.
The House Democrats are not here. They've made a choice. They made the wrong choice for all the citizens of Texas, because we've got not only a 13th check bill for our retired educators to deliver this morning, we not only have a bond reform bill that was delivered this morning at the House, we also have 3 property tax bills that would help save 2+ million homeowners real money in their pocket, over $500 million over the next biennium. And because of the fiscal and monetary policies of the Biden administration, inflation is going to run rampant. So we need the 13th check. Senator Huffman, your bill is critical for that educators that are retired can maintain their homes. Senator Nelson, we need over 65 homestead relief, which is in this form of this bill, is keeping their freeze values to go down with the tax rate reductions that are now going to be cranked out of Senate Bill 2 and House Bill 3. We need it because our public needs it. And what we need are the House Democrats to show up and get back to work. And I'm not going to be as nice as my colleague. I'm demanding that they come back and show up to work, because we are leaving people's checkbooks behind because they're on a junket to DC. Now, here's the final point. I've got 3 property tax bills, and these are important, okay? And we have a bill that's very important on the 13th check. But we have to get a constitutional amendment to get the over 65 property tax relief that we need done, voted on by the public. The only way we're going to get that done is if the House Democrats get their butts out of Washington and back into Texas in the next week, because we have to pass those bills so the Secretary of State can put them on the call for the election in November, so that Texans can vote what to do with their money, so Texans can vote to protect their citizens. Because while we're talking about life here, okay, of how to get your money back, the fact that we've got a bond proposal that has to go to the public for review and vote is the only way we're going to stop these crazy leftist progressive judges from releasing felons, violent felons, that have killed 100 or more people in Harris County. And Senator Huffman's been tracking 5 since the last time the Democrats walked out on that bill in the House. So we're talking about life and death here, real life and death. And that's what the House Democrats are missing, because they're not doing their job. And I'm outraged, everybody here is outraged, because we've had it with people walking off the job, just like the Texans out there know. They've had it too. And this walkout is going to end. And when it ends, because I've already tweeted Chris Turner and the House Democrat Caucus, and when it ends, they're going to have to explain why they weren't here doing the business of the people of Texas. And with that, let me introduce Madam Pro Tem of the Senate, and a great leader herself, Senator Donna Campbell.
Thank you, Senator Bettencourt. Chairman Nelson, Senator Paxton, Huffman. Well, we will pass these bills as many times as we need to for Texans. We will get the job done. We do get the job done. It's held up on their shoulders. While they're away, we will stay. We will work together to keep Texas strong. Because why? Because we don't have another Texas to move to. Thank you. With that, we'll take questions. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending.